Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Healthcare Marketing Executive Podcast. Saul Marquez here, and today I've got the privilege of hosting Kennan O'Connell. She is the Senior Marketing Manager at Canary Speech. They're a health tech company using vocal biomarkers to transform the way clinicians identify and monitor health conditions. At Canary, she leads marketing strategy and storytelling to translate complex science into clear, human-centered communication. Such a pleasure to have you on the podcast, Kennan. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Saul.
Talk to us a little bit about you. What got you into healthcare marketing?
Yeah, it wasn't like an original journey that I started to go on. My bachelor's degree was in international relations, and I dabbled a little bit in HR. I got a master's of public administration, thought I was going to go into nonprofit administration. I always really enjoyed creative hobbies, I guess, more on the side, and ended up winding my way into marketing, as I think a lot of marketers do, right? And so it ended up being a really great kind of collaboration of all of my skill set. A lot of writing from my IR past, which was very econ and heavy, political science heavy. So a lot of hard skills with writing and a lot of those creative skills with do a lot of nice Canva work and Illustrator work. So it's been a fun ride.
That's cool. Yeah. You know what? Rolling up your sleeves to get it done. It's super important skill to have. And you've been in the business now for a bit. What's one of the biggest misconception you'd say that people have about healthcare marketing?
I think a lot of people just assume that healthcare marketing is just like hype, like you're trying to make something sound bigger or flashier than it really is. I don't know about you, but I think sometimes it seems like any new technology in healthcare, people think, oh, so it's another like Theranos, right? Like when I was describing what Canary Speech does to my family, they're like, can you really do that though? Like that sounds like overpromising.
Yeah, a lot of skepticism out there.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And so I think, but the truth is we have to be so deliberate with every word that we use, right? Mm-hmm. Like at Canary Speech, we don't say that we're a diagnostic tool, right? We're a clinical decision support tool, which is a mouthful, but we have to be precise because we want to build that trust and not oversell anything. And in that way, we show the real impact that we have for clinicians and with patients.
Yeah, for sure. It's so important. We're so regulated. And as you look at whether it's software or med device pharma, right? There's different layers of regulation. And Kennan, to your point, making sure we're not overhyping is super key. For you, what's a marketing trend or a recent engagement that you've had that excites you?
Yeah, one marketing engagement or trend that kind of excites me right now, I feel like there's a shift towards more like short form, self-recorded video content that's basically like the opposite of polished, like overproduced marketing. We're in this space now where everything can be AI generated, everything can be like hyper scripted. And so there's something that's really refreshing about seeing a real person on their phone talking honestly about their experience. Like I think it's fun that sometimes on TV you'll see a commercial where it's someone that's been like self-recorded. And we're actually leaning into that right now. And at Canary Speech, we're launching a testimonials page and we're asking our partners to just send us a quick self-recorded video. It's not going to have like studio lighting. It's just going to be an authentic story. And I think that resonates more in healthcare anyway. People want to hear from clinicians and partners in their own words where it doesn't feel like rehearsed.
Totally. I think that's the real stuff that we're all looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that you guys are doing that. And in particular, you're seeing more and more, especially when you've got brands that are B2B2C, where you want to influence that. With Canary, you guys are B2B, right? You're selling directly to the health systems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So even on the B2B side, I saw an article that's, hey, we're not B2B, we're H to H, human to human.
Yes.
And exactly. A lot of times it's the unpolished thing that resonates the most.
Yep.
How do you balance that seesaw between compliance and creativity?
I feel like it's not even really a balance. It's almost like compliance really is like the foundation of creativity, because compliance is what builds the credibility, right? Mm-hmm. There's no point in being creative if you don't start with the compliant aspect. Because we're a B2B, compliance really means speaking the language of the clinicians and being precise about what we can and can't claim. And so that really strengthens trust with our audience. So we can't say that Canary Speech's technology diagnoses anything, but we can say clinicians screen for disease early and objectively, right? That way the content is authentic and it communicates value without overstating anything. I feel like there's like the comparison of like a kite, right? And if the kite is like creativity, you think that like the compliance as the string is like holding the kite back, but really like if you chop the string, the kite just falls down, right? Like it's tethering it, right? So like the compliance is like keeping it in the sky, if that makes sense.
I like it. I like it. Or it could fly away completely. If it's so windy, it'll end up somewhere where you don't even know where it goes and you're littering now and maybe endangering, and maybe you're endangering sea life. Like, just this thing could go so many ways. I think it's a great analogy. So as healthcare marketers, we have a lot of challenges. We've talked about compliance for a bit now, but what's a challenge that we face that isn't being talked about enough?
Yeah, so I think one thing that all marketers in the healthcare realm face is balancing all of the different stakeholders' interests and needs, right? So you have the sales team, you have your executive team, you have your research team, potentially, right? And they all have different needs, different expectations. You might have compliance, on another hand, regulators in the industry, right? And so as a marketer, you are balancing all of those needs. And at the end of the day, I think your job is doing the right thing for the providers and the patients and the individuals that you are marketing your tools for, your product for. And so that's something that is always a struggle and a balancing act.
Yeah, I agree. That principle-centered approach always wins in that tough balance. And I couldn't agree with you more. A lot of what we do in the business is KPI driven, metrics driven. How are you measuring success today? Anything new or exciting?
I think if you're traditionally measuring success with clicks and email opens and leads, and I'd say something that we're looking at is whether our work is actually moving the needle for clinicians and partners. For example, we're tracking engagement with content that educates healthcare decision makers about vocal biomarkers and clinical workflow integration. We have tools in HubSpot that are looking at how many people are opening up some of our documents, how long they're spending looking at those documents. And then, of course, we're looking at, does that content spark a partnership conversation or does that lead to a speaking invitation? And I'm considering that a win. So it's less about quantity sometimes and more about that meaningful engagement.
Totally. Yeah, I think especially nowadays, the quantity game is dead. You really are, the days of mass emailing people and mass LinkedIn DMing people, like quantity is not quality. And to your point, those key engagement metrics, what are they for your organization is really important to define, as Kennan has outlined. So yeah, I think it's a great call out. What's a bold or risky move you've taken recently?
Yeah, I'd say, so in the last year, Canary has been accelerating, really exciting times. A lot of new products, new partnerships, more visibility. But I feel like something that we've been missing in our industry is a strong, consistent thought leadership voice in the market. And so deciding to position us assertively as a thought leadership in vocal biomarkers and in ambient AI felt a little risky. Speaking early about emerging technology, people can push back or challenge you. You have to balance being more of a visionary voice or being credible and responsible. That was something that we did that felt a little bit bold, but it was also fun to do, to start writing some of those like thought leadership pieces for our executive team. Started pushing some podcasts for our executive team to start taking on some of those more bigger speaking engagements. So that's been a really exciting thing to take on in the last year.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of really great things there. It's hard to be ahead of the game. I think the saying is pioneers get spears. And when you're way ahead, it's tough. But then once it starts getting adopted, it becomes cool. So I think we're at this interesting juncture where the pendulum is swinging And you guys are doing your work to get the leaders out there through these more innovative mechanisms like raw or videos and podcasts and things like that. So I think that's really great. It's authentic to do those kinds of things. So as we wrap here, Kennan, what would you say ultimately drives why you do what you do in healthcare marketing?
Yeah, well, I feel like it closes the loop really nicely. I feel like I'd mentioned I had wanted to go into nonprofit management and have that master's of public administration. And even though I work in a for-profit industry, I feel like working in healthcare really provides that same sense of making a difference and doing something that will hopefully benefit a lot of people by being more highly accessible, highly scalable. And so that's something that I definitely have enjoyed about being in this industry. It's also a lot of what we do at Canary Speech is mental health care oriented. And my husband's a psychiatrist. And so that's also something I care quite a bit about. And so there's a lot of aspects that I really enjoyed working in this industry. So it's been a really great fit. Yeah.
Full circle there. And yeah, listen, I definitely think it's got to be meaningful for it to make a difference. And it certainly is for you, Kennan. If people want to reach out to you or learn more about Canary Speech, where can they do that?
Yes. And so would love to have you follow us on LinkedIn. That's a great place to find us. And you can always email me at kennan@canaryspeech.com.
Outstanding, Kennan. Thanks for joining us. And folks, thanks for joining us as well. In the show notes, you'll find all the ways to get in touch with Kennan and Canary Speech, as well as the short notes on our discussion today. Thank y'all for tuning in. And Kennan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks all.